Welcome to my thoughts on wireframing. What is wireframing? It's a process where designers draws overviews, interacts products, establish the structure, flow, possible design solutions. So basically, if you look over, it's kind of a outline of what you're going to be building, all the components laid out. I'm going to start off using HTML to write my wireframes because I don't use things like Figma and all its competitors to make something, because I'm just going to build out the components with HTML. It's fast, and then I can utilize the HTML in my process of building out the front end as opposed to throw away whatever Figma file I created or whatever. I'm just going to write this thing. As you can see, you have components available here. You just copy and paste all the HTML components where you want on a file, and you build out your wireframe. So I think they've engineered the concept when someone has all these requirements about what are you using to build out your wireframe, and you've got to have this software, you've got to have that, or you're nobody. Don't listen to that. Write HTML. Get to know HTML very well so you can write it right then and there. Someone says, I want to have a banner or a nav, and I want to have a footer, and I've got to have these components, whether it be a list or a media player. These are all things you just type right with HTML. As you can see, I'm just going to build out a style sheet, and I'm going to go ahead and open up a file, and I'm going to utilize the grid system that Bootstrap provides. Grid system is based on 12s, so think of 12 across being the grid, and you can go any ways. You can go 3 4s or 4 3s or 2 6s. So that would be 2 6s would be 2 columns, and I'm going to be doing let me see here, column 9 and 3, so that equals 12. So I think I changed it to an 8 4 in a minute, but as you can see now, I'm just writing a footer, and I'm going to write in the copyright just to represent. And all this is just like, while someone's telling me what they want, maybe they drew some stuff down on a napkin, which has happened many times, I literally write it up in minutes. Keep an eye on the top right at what time it is. It looks like I did this February 23rd, 1:55. Watch the end time and how long it takes me to write up somebody's concept. And then at the end, I'll show you what the concept really turned into be. So like I said, this is basically just an outline of what this thing's going to look like. I'm just building the HTML components. It doesn't actually work, but it does represent it visually so that people get the workflow and they can move things around with copy and paste very simply. So as you can see, the main content is, this is a news aggregator for the most part, and it has a messenger that's an encrypted messenger with it, so you can socialize with your buddies based on whatever you've been reading up on for your RSS posts, blog feeds, so on and what have you. You guys get to share all that. Here's basically the layout for the app. And it's like a social media app, basically. One page is all it takes. So, if it was it had multiple pages, then you're going to have to get some kind of, these are going to be our templates, but same concept of writing this out in HTML. The column that has 8 on it would be where the main content goes. So all the posts from whatever RSS feed you selected would go there as kind of an accordion, and then you get to select the one to read, and it'll expand for you. And here I'm just going to put in literally my search terms, and this is where you would add an RSS to your feed list. So I'm just copying what I need from the Bootstrap framework, which is just a CSS framework. They've got all this predetermined, so any kind of spacing, padding, like I said, the grid system, any kind of utilities, they're already done. And you don't have to just use this. There's anything, Foundation is another one, Tailwind, I think, is another. I've just been using Bootstrap since like Bootstrap 2, so this is the one I know. But once you learn one of them, they all fall in line. They're all written the same. So no need to worry. If you show up to a job and they're not using Bootstrap, don't sweat it. Anyway, let's take a look at what I've built. All right, there you go. So far, so good. As you can see, my components are being represented. I have some titling and the list of what will be there. So as you can see, it's starting to take place. Just going to get a few more items that we need. And like I said, I don't know why people are using expensive software and requiring software. This is easy. This is like stuff you would have done like in a junior college, learning how to do HTML. And once you get good at it, or just understand like the power of like just how you can visualize something with just this code, I mean, you'll never look back. You won't have to have some kind of a learning curve for any other software. You just will always use this. And granted that this could be handed over to a developer, and they would take out these lists, and then they would iterate through all their real data. So this is the skeleton that they could possibly use for the actual software. You started it out right here when you were building the wireframe. And this is one of those things where once you get the green light on the way this page works, you're on to your next step. So I just want to reiterate that you don't have to always require things that... nice card body, that's a nice touch. It's supposed to be card. Yeah, that's right. Okay, good. So basically I'm writing out a card body for the content. This is going to be, each one of those is an accordion with a title, and then when you click one that's active, it'll show the actual post from the RSS feed. So as you can see, I'm just building this out. I'm going to make a couple of sentence examples so that we have some filler text to kind of represent what it would look like if someone was going to have a story. And we're getting closer. And you guys might even be familiar with this. I wrote this software a couple years back. It's just something I've posted for free if anybody wants to use it and communicate with their friends and share blog posts. So anyway, let's move on. I'm adding a feed here, and here's where you would add like another contact on your list of social media networks. So like I said, when you would click on this individual or add them, it will go and get all of the feeds that they follow. And then you can read them and like them and talk to your buddy about your opinions of the feed post. So it's as simple as that. There's a lot of going on here. Like I said, it's a messenger, and it's also a news aggregator. But you'd be surprised. It's let me think here. It's only a few APIs. It does have, you could probably have written the news aggregator in JavaScript as well, but I've found that PHP really does a good job grabbing news feeds. So I've just used, you can check, I'll leave the link to this software, and you can do a check. My PHP is literally so light and extremely versatile on grabbing whatever feed you want right then and there. You just tell it where you want it. And here's the encrypted messenger. So this is not a real big deal. It's just a simple way to communicate with your friends that you've already reached out to on this this platform. And also, this is another API built into it where if you don't want to hear something, like if somebody starts talking about some topic you could care less about, you write that keyword down in this area here, and it will filter out those words. Any story or title that has that word in it will be ripped out, and you won't have to read it. So that's why I call it curate. So you get to select what your opinion and what you want to read. And so here I go, just putting the representation of my contacts, and then it'll be like a drop down where you can select from all your contacts, and just type in, or just select who you want to contact as opposed to typing in their name all the time. But we're getting close to being finished. Like I said, it really just didn't. A whole page, this whole app's wireframe could be put together, I would say, in like a 30-minute time period, and then you just take it up to the higher ups, whoever requested this app, and they kind of fumble about, look at it for a week, and come back with some, we want this here, or we'd like to add this component. And no problem. Just do the same thing you're just doing here. I mean, look how fast it is to make this thing. I'm just going to put a little more filler in. And I mean, I'm not even doing a lot of like custom stylings. This is all stuff that they have already prepared in Bootstrap for the spacing utilities. So I'm going to customize it with a banner and like an avatar, and we're off to the races. I mean, like I said, this is proving my point. I think that this is a good project to kind of take a look at if you guys want to just kind of learn how to run a simple React software, because it's only like a one-page app anyway. It's a good one to put an example for a wireframe, though, because it does have a lot of components that are kind of running their own show, and they all work together in tandem. So here I am putting a representation of my avatar and a background. And here we go. Just a little bit of tweaking with the HTML and CSS. And I'll end up, having just an icon that represents my avatar up there, my profile. So yeah, I think this is, I just pasted it over from the actual one because it's kind of a trial and error. Here we go. And then I'll just kind of do a little bit of tweaking. And then check the mobile view as well. There we go. Looks pretty good. Let's go for that mobile look. And it's responsive. Everybody knows Bootstrap goes responsive first, like mobile first. So, like I said, wireframe in minutes. And here's the end result of the project I built. As you can see here, this is pretty much it. Works great. These are the feeds from people that I follow. These are just test individuals. But as you can see, like whoever I want to follow their feeds, this is how I do it. And I can email somebody on my list, send them a message. So yeah, fun stuff. And wireframes, don't be intimidated with wireframes. When someone says, well, what about your wireframes? What's your schedule? Like, how do you get this all started? This is how my process starts. I get an idea. I start taking HTML and kind of moving the components around to where I feel like this makes sense. This is where this all belongs. This is where the flow works. As you can see here, like I'm really enjoying this project, and I hope you do too.